Afternoon traders. Hopefully everyone is having a good day. All three major indices up today. Now, before we get into the show, I really do want to thank all my subscribers. I really do appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. Now, with that said, let's go into the one stock that we've been highlighting all week, and that is PEIX, or Pacific Ethanol. All right. So if you remember from last week or early on the week, I did say it started to look PEIX a little overbought. It was trending right along this upper Bollinger Band, and that usually indicates an overbought situation. But I did say, these overbought situations can last for a long time. But once it broke below that initial 52-week high, the low of that day, it started trending. And I said, watch for some initial support right down at this 10 SMA. And that could happen whether through price or time. And this happened, in the last 4 days, and it happened through price because it started going lower the last 4 days. Now what? Well, if you want to get long, this is probably a good opportunity to get long. So on Monday, watch that first 30-minute candle. If it takes it out on the upside, I would go long and then use today's low as my out. Because if it starts getting below today's low, I will target this light blue line, which is that midpoint Bollinger Band, as the next level of support. Okay, guys? So be very, very careful and be very wary with those, ins and outs. Okay? All right, PEIX. All right, so let's get into the stocks that we own. First stock was AQST. I did have to sell AQST. I was very, very disappointed on the way it performed today. It was down 18 cents for the day. It's not a lot, but it did start, with the market being up and being below that 10 SMA right here, being below that midpoint Bollinger Band. It just looks like it wants to get down to this 50 period SMA right here on the daily. And if that's the case, that's fine. I'll be a buyer, initial buyer again at this price, and then I will definitely buy on strength again. Okay, that is AQST. I am out of AQST. Next stock that we do own is VUZI, and still own that. VUZI was up 27 cents, or about 7%. It did come out with some decent news today, so that was actually very, very, welcomed. It did spike all the way down or up to $4.23 on the news that Clorox was using their newest product, which was extremely surprising. Maybe they are starting to make a little bit of inroads in enterprise in their smart glasses. Okay, so I'm waiting here for my charting tools to get up, to launch. I'm having some issues with this today, but we'll just sit here and wait for a second. But yeah, VUZI looks really good. So the line in the sand for me is going to be that 385 mark. If it can hold that on Monday, I'll stay long and see if we can creep up above that 423, 425. That would indicate we're going to go back above that value area high, which is right here or right close to that value area high in the daily. And if we can do that, watch for this really to move for the next week. All right, so we're going to skip that since we already talked about it. Go right into STNG. STNG also had some good news after the close yesterday. It did pop today all the way up to $11.64. Did like the way it closed. It was up almost 4%. Again, here's one that's coming off fresh 52-week lows. It can rally from here. I could see this chopping around for a little bit, but we did see that news where the CEO bought a ton of call options all the way out to April. So that does put a little bit of a tailwind behind the stock. So I'm watching for this to continue going higher the next week or two. And then if I remember correctly on the charting system, the 50 and the 10 and the midpoint Bollinger Band were right there at about $12.45. So that's where I'm going to see that first initial level of resistance on the stock. Okay, it just popped back up, and I'll show you what I mean right here. Yep, look right here, right around 1240, 1265, right there. There is a lot of resistance in that area. Hopefully we can get above that. Then that becomes support. So that's what I'm waiting for the stock to get above that 1250. Okay, STNG still long. Next stock that we do own is XCRS. This was a really big winner for us last week. We did pretty well. Today, not so much. It was up 2.86%. Still beat the market overall. Wasn't too bad. Again, I think I'm having a little bit of problems on this charting system today. So I'm going to tell you what I saw. I did do my homework before doing the show, and I remember looking at this, and it still looks pretty good on the chart. Watch for today's low on Monday. If it starts trading below today's low of 543, then I will be out of the name. Again, I still like the stock overall. Okay, here we go. We're going to bring this up here on that daily. Yep, here we go. That's STNG. Let's bring up XERS. All right, well, now we have an issue with this. But like I said, XCRS still look pretty good. Let's hope we can get out that 590, that today's high today on Monday. If not, again, it's holding this midpoint Bollinger Band. It looks like that's the trend it wants to hold. That was tested a few times all the way back in early August, and that's been kind of that support line. I don't see that changing right now, which is a great sign. If then we could get above that 10 SMA, that might be the new level of support when it really starts to move. So this is actually a really, really good time to be a buyer in this name with that low of today as you're out. Okay, that is XERS. Next stock that we do own is SPPI. SPPI. Here's one that kind of chopped around all day. Not very impressed with it, but if we bring this up on that daily chart right here, it did close above this value area high. We have this gap right here, so this can actually be a great risk reward setup. If it gets below yesterday's low of $4.13, I will be out. I think this can start running, and if it does, watch this gap to be filled. No shares in this area, so there's going to be very little resistance going above here. Okay, that's SPPI. Lastly, the stock that we do own is TOL, up 41 cents today. Not a big mover today on decent shares. It did get all the way up to 48.22. Did not make a new 52-week high, but it is above this or close to this value area high right here. And as you can see on this chart, not many shares traded above here. We get above here, there's going to be a bunch of buyers coming in here and sending this higher. And remember, guys, use this 10 SMA, this blue line right here, as your support. So be buying on pullbacks, and then we could see this going a lot higher from here. All right, guys, let's go over the three stocks that we did mention on Sunday night and see how they performed. Let's going to bring this up on a daily chart so we could see this a little. On a weekly chart. Well, the first stock that we had mentioned was going to be ACHV, and how did it perform? It had a pretty good day today, but overall it still was a loser from the week. It did open up at 945 and it did close at 916, so it's down about 29 cents, so that's not too bad of a loss. Then I did mention TSE as a possible buy for the week. It did look pretty good going into Monday, but then it did sell off with the rest of the market. It never really recovered, so I think that was a big loser for us. I think it was down about 250 on that one. And then lastly, it was XERS, the one that we just talked about. This one was also a little bit of a loser for us right here. XERS, it's still way above this 9 SMA, so this can pull back all the way to this 9 down here, and and still be in this nice uptrend. But if you could take a look real quick, since I have it up, it is above the value area high in the weekly, which is actually a great sign. I love the way this stock is setting up, and I think this is going to be one that I might keep for a while. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me. I hope everyone has a beautiful and safe weekend. And again, if you have any questions, please contact me at eric@valueareatrader.com. That's eric@valueareatrader.com. So I am going to do a special show on Sunday, releasing my 3 picks that I think that are going to move on Monday and the rest of the week, and then we'll just see how they fare for the for that week. Okay, guys. Again, my name is Eric, and you can contact me at eric@valueareatrader.com. And please have a safe weekend. And remember, trade smart and be safe.